He was 47 when the key resurfaced, not because he was looking for it, but because some things wait quietly until you stop paying attention. The drawer had always been there. Old papers, receipts, things that no longer mattered. He opened it without thinking. The key was heavier than he remembered. Worn metal, no label, no explanation. He stood there longer than necessary, holding it, trying to remember what it had ever opened. Nothing came. For years he had accepted the story his parents told him. It had sounded complete at the time, convincing enough. He never questioned it, not because he trusted it fully, but because questioning it would have meant reopening something he had already learned to carry in silence. He was the older brother, the one expected to move on, the one who didn't ask for clarity when everyone else seemed relieved not to explain. So he lived with the version he was given. Years passed that way. Family gatherings where certain topics never surfaced. Conversations that stopped just before becoming uncomfortable. Memories that felt edited, but familiar enough to accept. Until that key. He turned it over in his palm, noticing how familiar it felt in his hand. As if his body remembered something his mind had been denied. That night, he asked his parents about it. Casually, almost carelessly. "Do you remember this?" he said, placing the key on the table. There was a pause. Not long, but long enough. His father glanced at his mother. His mother looked down, then back at the key. They said it must be old, that they weren't sure, that maybe it belonged to something they no longer had. Their answers didn't match. He didn't push. He had learned years ago that silence was easier for everyone, but over the next days, the key stayed with him. In his pocket, on the counter, beside his bed. And with it came a feeling he couldn't ignore anymore. Something about the story he had lived with wasn't just incomplete. It was wrong. A week later, his mother called. She didn't mention the key. She asked if he could come by. When he arrived, the house felt smaller than it used to, quieter. They sat at the same table where so many things had been discussed, and so many had been avoided. This time, no one pretended. His mother spoke first. She said they had hoped it would never come back to this, that they believed time would soften everything. His father didn't interrupt. He just listened. Then the truth began to surface, slowly, in pieces. The key belonged to a place he was never meant to see. A decision made without him. A choice explained away before he ever had the chance to understand. They told him they were afraid. Afraid he would react badly. Afraid he would blame himself. Afraid he wouldn't forgive them. So they chose silence. Years of it. When the full truth finally settled between them, there was no anger in his voice. Only weight. He realized then that the hardest part wasn't what they had done. It was how long they had let him live without knowing. How many years he had shaped his life around a lie that was meant to protect him. His mother's voice broke when she apologized. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to be real. "I'm sorry," she said. "We should have trusted you with the truth." He didn't answer right away. He picked up the key, held it. For the first time, it made sense. Not as an object, but as proof. Some truths don't hurt because of what they reveal. They hurt because of how long they were withheld. That evening, he left the house without raising his voice, without accusations, without demands. The past didn't change, but something inside him did. He had lived for years believing something that wasn't true. Now at least he knew. And sometimes that's the only justice time allows. Some lies aren't told to deceive. They're told to delay pain. But delay has a cost, and eventually, time collects it.